All right. Good morning, folks. This is Tim Ealer, meteorologist. A little frustrated this morning because we really don't have any better guidance than we had yesterday um, on the future of 94L, which is now PTC 9. Just making sure this is working. Which is forecast to generally move up in that direction here. And now possibly stall off the coast, possibly get up here, or some go out this way. And it's all related to where it's going to form, where the formation of the low is, how far it moves to the north, interactions with Humberto and the upper level trough you see here, or mid level trough digging here. It almost looks like it's taking on a negative tilt here. And you have a mid-level high pressure system out here generally. It's keeping feature Imelda from going this way, right? Narrow corridor for it to go up here, okay? Uh, Looks like in general there might be a little bit, you have this. Anyway, I could go on and on about this, but there's going to be another update in a few minutes at 5 a.m. from the National Hurricane Center, and I'm going to switch to that as we get closer. I've been working on this forecast for an hour and a half now. Now just getting started making the video, so been trying to get some clarity on this, but honestly, as far as Umberto goes, it's pretty clear that it's going to stay out in the Atlantic, but whether or not it impacts Bermuda is uncertain at this point. Uh, so let's get started talking about PTC 9 with future Imelda. Okay. And first, I'm going to show a closer infrared satellite loop of Humberto. Very small storm. Um, Hurricane force winds only extend 25 miles, if I remember right, from the center. Tropical storm force winds about 100 and some miles. So quite small. And that's why it's part of the reason it's small size, it's able to intensify so rapidly. Okay. So this is PTC 9 water vapor loop. Kind of showed that from the broader picture here. You see the deeper colors, deeper moisture. What looks to be some enhanced convection just north of Cuba. Okay. Um, I'd venture to say, hopefully within the next 12 to 24 hours, we'll get a low pressure system formed somewhere in this general area. Now, if we pull up the IR shortwave here, a different look at it, you see where a lot of convection is north of Cuba. That may be where the low eventually forms. I don't think there's any scenario where it's going to form south of Cuba here between, and you can see a general cyclonic envelope there. Let's look at the geocolor real quick. Don't have any visible images yet, but you can see the general cyclonic turning here. Okay, and some upper level outflow as well, going this way. Cyclonic turning on this way. So, the models have been very insistent on a low pressure forming, and it was supposed to form yesterday. And they've been out there. The um, hurricane hunters and no aircraft been out there dropping upper level drop sondes to sample the upper level atmosphere and other things. So maybe that's why there's still, well, you would expect there to be more certainty at this point, but maybe that's why there's been a shift in the model guidance. Or as of yesterday, there was more model guidance pointing towards the southeast coast and then going inland, and now um, clear as mud, really. Really don't know. But more models are now pointing towards it possibly going stalling off the coast and then eventually getting pulled out to sea. So let's go over some of the guidance here. Going back to, let's look at the ensembles first. Uh, sorry, guys. This is European ensembles. Let's go back a few initialization here. All right. 00Z, move through forward in time. Pretty tightly clustered um, for both systems here. Okay. And you can see European wants to move some inland and some offshore. Uh, Maybe related to the position of Humberto, um, but also where it initializes at. You take the tracks off, you can see what I'm talking about here. Widespread um, from west to east here with the European ensembles. Okay, so on the GFS ensembles, this is as of the 30th. Okay, some of the models are taking it right on the coast of Florida, which I hope not. But see quite a bit of spread again. Take the tracks off, all over the place. You know, so going back, tightly clustered really until we get to about um, Tuesday, and then Wednesday we still could be dealing with this. So that's I know I don't sound overly excited about this, but it's because it's frustrating because there's not even more any more clarity than there was yesterday. uh, as far as the deep mind, based on the European models, going through time here. There you go. Quite a bit of widespread here, very widespread. Again, mirroring offshore, going onshore, all over the place. So I'm showing you all this just so you see how much uncertainty there is. And this is the Google DeepMind based on FNV3 backend. Tracks off, widespread. So that's that. Now let's go through the hurricane models. I'm going to check and see if we have any more recent runs. We don't. So this is the HWRF. That's Humberto, okay? Just want to show you how intense it gets. Then, yeah. This is 94L Imelda, okay. HWRF really wants to have it close to Florida. Almost impacting Florida. Georgia coastline, South Carolina coastline, goes on shore, hangs around, does a loop, and just is still there um, on next Thursday. Uh, so, and this is the HWRF parent, which is a wider look, if you will, which is it's just the way the model works. It has some outer portions of the model that is a less resolution, allows it to do like a moving grid for the zoomed in or the mesoscale type close to the storm that we just saw. So this is just the representation, two lows of what I showed you earlier. And it shows Humberto going out to sea and maybe impacting Bermuda. Okay, so HMON, there's Humberto, very strong there. That's today. It's pretty accurate on the intensity. And this is 09L, which is Imelda, PCC9, whatever you want to call it. It's moving on shore. So Humberto again. And you got, this is the representation 09L, which is Imelda. This looks like it's pretty far south and just does a loop offshore here and moves on shore in South Carolina eventually. House A parent, same thing as the HWF parent, shows the two lows here and their interactions, right? Okay. Which goes on shore. House B, there's Humberto out there on the 28th. House B, there's, these are all hurricane models, by the way. Offshore, weaker, Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, brushes the southeast coast, does a loop, and that's where it ends on next Thursday. Okay. This has to be parent showing Humberto further to the west, but kind of the Melba left out there hanging out to dry right off the southeast coast. So, oh boy, this is not an easy thing to forecast, to tell you. So, going back, let's look at the overall synoptic pattern going on right now. Upper level winds. You shift for the winds just to the east of future Imelda from the south here. Okay, I'm going generally this way. With this trough building in, maybe taking a negative tilt. I want to wait and see. I can see the winds diving here. Okay, I want to wait and see if that has any impact on this future track of the system here. Okay, so lower level winds. You can see the general. There's not a lot of them here, but see the general idea. These are satellite derived winds, by the way. Okay, so generally in this direction. So quite a bit of weak flow right here. So or maybe it's just not sampled. Okay, so upper divergence. This is a good indication that there's a lot of upper divergence aloft, which is leading to the convection we see here over Imelda, future Imelda. So if that's favorable, right? Lower convergence, a lot of convergence. Just you know, bullseye just south of Cuba there, which is another favorable aspect of this, right? Visible winds we don't have. Wind shear, quite a bit of wind shear right to the north of future um, Inelva, right? So, but that also helps maybe with some divergence. But I think this is forecast to kind of move, kind of split and weaken. So we'll just let me step this back in time here. Actually, it's come together right over top of it. So let's look at this. It looks like there's almost maybe a little small high pressure trying to build a loft here. We'll just have to see. Um, the shear tendency, like we showed a minute ago, has been on the increase right to the north of this. So, and another thing we look at with the systems is vorticity, which is a spin at different levels. The lowest level, you can see a lot of vorticity here, north of Cuba and south of Cuba. Same thing at even low close to the surface, and 700 millibars, 500 millibars, which is higher up. And 200, we don't see much. Only we see a lot to the west here, likely due to the trough digging down here. And mid shear, you can see that it looks like maybe a mid-level high building over here, right? Anyway, that's that. I know that's in the weeds, and a lot of people get bored looking at this stuff, but it's just an important aspect of things. Okay. All right. So this is the Google DeepMind. Make sure this is recording. I just recorded 10 minutes of stuff with nothing being recorded. So, um, I have a more recent run than I had earlier. So I wanted to show you the Google DeepMind with the European models as well. See the initialization of this low kind of all over the place, right? So once we finally get a low center here, pretty good confidence where it's going to go from there. And then when we get up to about Tuesday morning, that's where the uncertainty goes. The European model, high res and ensembles now want to move it out over the open Atlantic. The experimental model by Google out to the open Atlantic, and the weather mix graph by Google keeps it hanging around. Okay, and you could see the different these spaghetti models. The orange is the European ensemble. Okay, and the blue is the Google DeepMind. European ensemble is 50 members. I'm not certain how many DeepMind has, but um, quite a few members still in the southeast, and quite a few move it out to sea. I would say it's pretty evenly split, so I'm not sure why the operational shows it going out to sea, but the models have flip flopped about this, so hopefully get some more clarity in the next 12 hours. I hope. All right, so keep saying all right. I gotta stop doing that. Here are the key messages for potential tropical cyclone 9. The National Hurricane Center has noted that there's a vorticity maximum setting up in this area here and likely to become a depression next 12 24 hours. So I think we're finally seeing, hopefully, we're finally seeing a low develop so we get better idea. Hopefully, meaning so we'll know, have a better idea where to initialize this system at and what it's going to do, hopefully. All right. So, given that uncertainty, I'm not going to go over a lot more things with it right now, but this is the overall forecast for tropical storm force wind probabilities. Um, Wide swath here. And the biggest impacts in the short term, Bahamas, um, Turks and Caicos. Of course, Cuba is getting a lot of rainfall right now. So, um, 58-mile-per-hour wind probabilities. Less here, but a bullseye up here into the right off the southeast coast. And of course, hurricane probabilities are less just because of the uncertainty involved with that. Okay. So, next, I'm going to go over potential impacts for the continental U.S. as far as wind and rainfall, as well as the WPC outlook for flooding along the southeast coast. All right. So, as far as excessive rainfall goes, this is through 12Z today. Um, Marginal risks around and embedded with some slight risk to Mexico, Arizona along the southeast coastline here, mid Atlantic, large area, um, along into the east of the Appalachians. And you can see the moisture associated with this, the highest amounts are into the desert southwest. Okay. Um, this is the 12Z today, so tomorrow's forecast, you can see where it moves. Most moisture is supposed to be and associated excessive rainfall right on the southeast coast into Mexico and into Intermountain West. Okay. Day 3, excessive rainfall, of course, from the moisture from um, future Imelda. And this may change depending on the eventual track, but that's what it is right now. And expected moisture associated with it. You see where the highest bullseyes are here into the northwest, Idaho, Washington, California, Oregon. Okay. And excessive rainfall outlook for the following days associated with Imelda, again off the southeast coast, mid Atlantic, a little area of marginal risk out here in the northwest. And day 5, marginal risk along the southeast coast again. So it all hinges on where Imelda finally goes. Okay. So luckily, we don't have any risk of severe weather other than general thunderstorms all through the period. But keep in mind, wherever future Imelda sets up and finally goes, we could have severe weather on and to the right of where it makes landfall if it does. Okay. My last message, everybody, is if you're to live on the southeast coast anywhere along here, just be prepared for this. And if nothing happens, then you are ready anyway. Okay. So y'all have a great day. I'll see you soon.